Welcome to Blitz. I'm Brian Carter. Thanks for watching. I'm here at White County with Drew Owens, third-year head coach of the Lady Warriors softball team. Drew, thank you so much for your time. Always appreciate having the chance to come up here and talk about your softball team at White County.
Oh, yeah, it's my pleasure.
Now talk about the way that you've improved over the last few years. You know, you started out your first year here a 7-win team. You jumped to 10 wins the next year, make it to the state playoffs, which is a big deal. This year looking like you're even better than you have been the last 2 years. What's that process been like for you?
I think more than anything, it's just a lot of growth from the kids that started in the program and started learning the structure and how we kind of do things. And I do for sure think we've made a lot of progress over the last 3 years for sure as a team and as a program, and getting everybody on board, and just look for bright things in the future.
Yeah, and the future is kind of now in some ways.
Yeah.
You got 6 seniors. I mean, that's a big senior class for the sport of softball, the biggest you've had here in your 3 years. What expectations? I imagine they were pretty heavy expectations you put on them from the get-go this year.
Just leadership mostly. We, as senior heavy as we are expecting a lot out of 2 or 3 different freshmen as well. So if nothing else, I think it's been great that our senior leadership has been able to reflect on our freshmen as well. And as much as we expect to do good and play well, it's the overall, I guess, forming of what we want to make a legacy for a long time. So.
Yeah, and one of those seniors, of course, Jessica Morgan, a 4-year starter behind the plate. Any coach would be extremely blessed, as I know you are, to have had her for this whole time. You've had her for the 3 years, but again, 4 years starting behind the plate, a phenomenal player. Talk about how special of a talent, how rare she actually is to come through a softball program.
She's just one of those kids that every coach dreams of. And I mean, when I walked in the doors here and you know, as a kid, you walk out on the field and you see her swing and you see her play defense and you think, man, that kid's got to be a senior. And then you find out she's a sophomore and you get 3 more years with her, and it's just like, it's reassuring. But here again, I mean, a kid like her is you see these coaches step in all the time and take all this credit. I can't do that because, I mean, when I got here, she was good, and she consistently works as hard as she can possibly work to be a better kid and a better player. I hope throughout the past 3 years I've helped her form her personality and form things that will help her as she goes on to Athens at UGA and has a successful career there. And everything that kid gets, she deserves, and everything that's coming to her, she's worked for. So.
Yeah, and somehow it's hard to believe, but somehow she seems to just keep getting better and better. And she kind of is the I guess the key that runs the ignition for this offense. I mean, we're looking at 8 home runs, 24 RBIs through just 14 games. It's phenomenal stats. I think she's hitting, like you said, over 600. Talk about this offense. 104 runs scored, leads the region. So as a coach, I imagine that's great, knowing that you're never out of a ball game.
No, and that's the approach we took this year. I mean, I'm come from a baseball background, and all you ever hear is pitching and defense wins championships, and I firmly believe in that, and I still believe in that. But we were just kind of put in a situation to where we were needing to score 8 to 10 runs a game to be sure to solidify the win. And so this year, starting back early in the summer, the coaching staff and I got together and said, hey, we're going to do an 80% offensive thing this year and just see what we can do. And we have. There's times we've struggled at the plate, but I think throughout the 3 years and them learning me as much as me learning them, and as far as, hey, if we can't seem to get the ball in play, we'll bunt. And I mean, it's just I guess the overall mentality of what can I do to get on base, and it went away from what can I do to help myself to what can I do to help the team, and then it becomes, hey, get hit by a pitch, hey, get a bunt down, hey, any way we can get down there. So we have really, I think, turned things around on the offensive spectrum. And as good as Jessica is, you know that 90% of the coaches we play walk into that game and says, hey, if she has any chance to affect that game, we're not going to throw to her. Well, the good thing behind that, Kylie Johnson has grown so much in the last 3 years. This year, I think she's hitting right now right at 400, and she's got 4 or 5 home runs herself. So it's hard to pitch around one kid when you got a kid behind her that can
Absolutely, it's like you said, manufacture runs any way you can get on base, put it in play. Anything's something's gonna happen, and this is kind of reminiscent of, I'm sure, as you're well versed in knowing the history of this program.
Yeah.
2010, that state championship run was a lot of offense firepower in the tournament, and so that propelled the Lady Warriors to a state title, was that offense production. So, from your perspective, what would it take for this team to make a deep run in the state playoffs, not just get
The
there?
first round, I mean, any state playoff game, if you come in as a high seed or a low seed, that first round and tipping that, getting over that edge, and I think the experience, like going to the playoffs last year and playing a phenomenal Chapel Hill team that went really really deep in Columbus, I think that experience alone will help us in the first round. But that first round, you're always typically going to get a team that's pretty stacked. So. Getting through that first round and just believing, playing the game for what it's worth, knowing that your days could be limited on the field just like everybody else's, and going out there and just playing like your feet are on fire. So I think that's huge for us, is getting to that first round and getting over that hump and going.
Hopefully, we get to see that from the Lady Warriors this year. And, Coach, thank you so much again for your time. Really appreciate it, and wish you the best of luck from here on out.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming.
Yep. Check out our interview now with star senior catcher Jessica Morgan here on Blitz.